Good morning, everyone. I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the October 8th, 2018 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Yes, I find myself once again apologizing that I have fallen off the wagon again in that I've not been doing these on a regular basis, and I'm terribly remiss. We just have had a lot going on. Some of you know it's kind of rough couple, 3-4 weeks. Anyway, but I'm back. I am teaching my adult Sunday school class, Galatians. And so for the next several days, I want to bring you some thoughts from a book that perhaps is overlooked by some of us. Galatians, of course, one of the epistles, one of the letters of Paul. This was written primarily to a group of believers who were baby believers, and they were not schooled in Jewish tradition. They were not primarily Jews who now believed in Christ as the long-awaited for Messiah, but rather they were Gentiles. They were people from the Greek and Roman cultures. Most of them had been had either culturally or perhaps faithfully really believed in some of the other religions, the Greek and Roman religions. And Paul had apparently come into their area either by happenstance. Of course, nothing with God is really happenstance, but from a human perspective, it appears that he either came there by happenstance or he came and had to stay there because whatever it is that was his affliction, he talks about that there was a thorn in his side. There was some kind of a medical condition that had caused him to stay longer with them. Whatever it was, we can see in Galatians, he makes some allusions to the fact that possibly it was an eye problem, but whatever it was very difficult, and they could have easily rejected him because of whatever this physical ailment was that he had, and yet he said that they treated him wonderfully. So he made a lot of progress with them, and his big thing was he was teaching them that the way to right relationship with God had to do with faith, that it is about relationship. It's not about works. You can't work your way to God. But what had happened is that after he had left to go on to preach other places, some people who were from a Judaic background came in and tried to say that they had to not only believe in Christ and have a relationship with God, but that they needed to comply with all the myriad of Jewish traditions and really to become Jewish in culture in order to make God happy. This was called, of course, the law. And Paul is just in Galatians, you can see that he is overwhelmed. He is upset. He is frightened. He is, frankly, beside himself. He doesn't understand why they have been so easily led astray and taking on more obligations than they actually needed to. This issue that Paul is dealing with in Galatians actually turns out to be a phenomenal kind of watershed moment for the Christian faith, because had Paul not been persuasive, had he not been able to thwart this legalization or potential legalization of Christianity, it would have been very difficult, if not impossible, for so many Gentiles, so many non-Jewish people to come to Christ. We're going to be talking this week about the phenomenally beautiful metaphors and the passion and the enthusiasm that Paul placed in his arguments and really his pleas to the Galatians not to impose more obligations on themselves and others than God does. And I don't know about you, but when I am overwhelmed with so much to do, my to-do list just never ends. When I feel like I've got way too much to do anyway, and the obligations and the pressures and the stress of this life are so great anyway, I don't want to put anything more on me than I have to. And so This week, we're going to talk about, are you putting more on yourself unnecessarily than God requires? I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next few editions of the Bible. Delight in the details. Have a great day.